what what things we should look for when we are going for training and development. See, as a training and development manager or a human resource manager in an organization, or human resource facilitator in an organization, your job is to take that decision. What training, when to be given training, which type of training, and to whom, isn't it? That decision matters, because you may not be in the role of trainer, but you will be the person who will be facilitating the whole training process as an HR person, right? So when you are facilitating the whole training process, it's very important that how you make the decisions, at what time you take the right decisions, right? Therefore, I decided that today in our class, we try to develop our understanding on what are the issues on which we should highlight before making such a decision as a training and development manager. So therefore, our objective, or we will be focusing on, see, two important issues. One, I would say, is, you know, the strategic planning approach to training. Now, this is very important. See, in my HRM classes also, I have said that HR has, you know, from those days are gone when HR used to be just an administrator. Now, HR is in the boardroom and is very much a part of the strategy making process in an organization. And often in my culture classes, I always say that culture eats strategy for breakfast. So if your culture is not strong, your organization culture does not support, the strategy will never succeed. And for organization culture to support, you should have a good human resource management practices implemented in the organization. And training and development is, of course, one of the very most important HR practices in the talent management platter, right? So therefore, today we will first discuss what is the basic strategic approach of training. So when we talk of this thing called strategic approach to training, we need to actually find out the relationship, right? We need to find out what? The relationship between competitive strategy, right? One. Second thing is the external environment. In my class today, actually, I will try to develop an understanding on how you should be able to link the strategy, the business environment, external business environment, and the internal strategies. Because see, when we are talking about human resource management and training and development as a practice, our our actions are towards the people in the organization or the employee, because the training and development influences something called employee experience, right? When we talk of HR practices actually play a very crucial role in developing employee experience. You must have heard a lot about customer experience, customer relationship management, etc., isn't it? So now nowadays, one of the very important issue is generating a very good positive employee experience. So if the employee experiences are good, now it is considered that an employee delivers. See, employee experience is guided by HR practices, culture of the organization. The culture is again something which again is driven by the HR practices, right? So when we talk about employee experience, we assume, remember, we assume that behavior of an individual leads to behavior of an employee leads to performance. Okay, this is our learning from OB classes. So what causes behavior of an employee? Attitude, right? Now, what is attitude? You have studied attitude is of 3 types, remember? One is cognitive, emotional, that is of feelings, and the third one is your behavioral attitude, right? So when we talk about the influence of attitude on behavior of employee, this attitude is actually very much guided by your experiences. Whenever you take any decision related to employee practices, implementation of any strategy, taking of any action for any employee, always think of the employee experiences and how that experience is going to influence the behavior of an employee. So we need to understand this employee experience per se, so that you know, as a HR person, you can make wise decisions or choices in your organization, right? So let me move to the next part. Why we are discussing this part? Because we are supposed to discuss strategy. We started with discussing strategy. So what happens in a strategy planning? When you plan a strategy, how you carry out the planning process? If you little bit recollect your past classes, first semester classes probably, you will see then when we do strategic planning, we try to find out what factors are compelling us for change. You know, why are you building a strategy? You are building a strategy to reach objectives, isn't it? There are some objectives which you want to fulfill, and to fulfill those objectives, you are building the strategy. Now, while building the strategy, the first thing comes is compelling for change. What actually compels you for changing the strategy? Now, when you are moving towards it, the second issue you take up is your you scan the environment, right? You actually scan the environment. So when you are looking at the factors which are pushing you to change your strategy or make new strategy so that you reach your destination, objectives, purpose of the organization, for that you try to, for building the strategy, you scan the environment. You look at the forces in the business environment, or the external forces. Actually, when you scan the environment, you are looking at the external factors in the organization which are influencing. If you recall the human resource planning classes we had, face-to-face classes we had in our last semester, I very elaborately made you understand this, how we scan the environment, what are the techniques of doing it. So once you scan the environment, you realize there are some gaps. Okay, gaps exist between what? Gaps between what organization is doing and what is required, right? So you then find out a gap between what actually the organization is at which platform and where it needs to move or change, so that you can reach your objectives better. And this actually helps you to carry a SWOT analysis that helps you to build your internal strategy, right? So we see that once we have scanned the environment, we look at the gaps where we need to, you take a very simple example, work from home. We all are working from home. Most of the organizations are opting to work from home. Now, what is this work from home practice? Earlier also it was there, but why it is so much being followed now? Because the external environment has changed. So for security and safety of lives, the organization as well as of the economy, it's not only securing the life, but for the economy to run as well, for the organizations to sustain, they have come out with an option of working from home. Right? Now, what happens when working from home is an internal strategy to manage the present context COVID situation, right? So when this is a strategy, what do? We take, once you have a strategy, you take tactical actions, or you called activities. Right? You carry out tactical activities or actions you take so that you facilitate the internal strategy. Okay, so therefore, I hope by now you are clear how the strategy influences internal act. And when we am talking about internal strategy is nothing but our HR activities also come into it. And when I'm saying HR activities is coming into it, so definitely training and development is a part of it. Now I hope you must be able to connect this strategy with the training and development activities, right? Internal strategies. When we talk of internal strategies, we normally carry it out at 3 levels in an organization. What are those 3 levels? The first level is the organization itself, at the level of organization. When we are talking about organization level, whatever internal strategies we make in the organization level, it mainly influences 2 things. One is structure and the other one is design. Remember this. Whenever internal strategies are made, it influences the structure, the organization in terms of a structure. We may form new departments, we may regroup people, we may work with the help of teams, we may change the hierarchical structure, we may add more people, right? So all this will be, we form new teams. So this is change in structure. And whenever there is a change in structure, the design also changes. Right? We redesign what? We design the workflow. We design, we rework on designing the work. See, when this all thing happened, that after post-COVID, first organizations waited for some time and then they went into work from home strategy. And when they ventured into work from home strategy, definitely if you talk to people who are working from home, there has been some or other change in the organization structure, or their jobs have been redesigned. Yesterday I'll be sharing you a link which very well where through HR analytics the researchers have very well captured the influence of the changes in work from home and how it has influenced the working of individuals. So it is seen, and like the HR analytics data has captured that the amount of work people are doing has increased about 10% working from home. Just imagine. Normally what will come to anyone's mind, array, work from home is okay, it's easy, you just stay at home, you don't have to go anywhere, so much of commuting time is saved, blah blah blah. But what is actually happening? The HR analytics, just remind me in WhatsApp, I'll send you the link. So what actually the results are so showing that people have felt this has increased their work by 10%. See, and that is called evidence-based study. The evidence speaks about it. So what I want to say is, whenever in your organization you are bringing about change in internal strategy, it directly influences the structure and design first. Second thing, it changes or influences groups and their relationships, right? So The second thing comes the groups and their relationships. Now, when we talk about groups and relationships, one important thing we need to know is socio-technical systems. I hope what I am writing is clearly visible to you. So socio-technical systems. Now, what are these? So social technical systems talks about the relationship between people and technology. Remember, that means in social technical system, we are talking about employee and the technology with which the employee is able to perform. You know, have you heard of a word called cohorts? You know, you have heard about robots. Robots are what? They are, you know, machines which are programmed to carry out, replace people and carry out their work. Nowadays, in organizations, the employees are working with robots. You know, an employee is working with robots to give the result into performance. Sorry, it's not cohorts, it's cobots. Right. So cobots is nothing but when employee or people work with robots together in giving a result in terms of performance. So in your organization, just imagine you are in a team where 3 are human beings and 4 are robots. So 4 plus 3, 7. You 7 of you are working together. Then imagine how you need to go through a learning exercise to understand those robots, to manage them, to be able to work with them. You know, has anybody of you experience in working with, or you possess this Alexa? It's Alexa, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Have you used it?
Yes, ma'am, I have one.
Yeah. What was your experience when you started using Alexa?
Ma'am, it took a while to like improve as per my usage. Then like it helped with my workflow and like getting up in the morning. It used to set up alarms, drink water and stuff.
Absolutely. Did you realize, Saif, during the process, we need to learn what exact words, if we speak, Alexa will respond fast, and how our sentence formation should be. Did you observe that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So thanks, Saif, for this response. So what I mean to say is there has to be some training and development among the people to increase the KSAs of employees. See, because this is already programmed. So KSA of employee you will have to change here so that they can work effectively and efficiently with robots, right? That is, we call it cobots. So what I want to say is there is always change. Whenever we change strategy, there is change in socio-technical systems. There is regrouping of people, putting them into different teams, and all this results in what? These results in a redesigning of work. Work redesign is a very interesting, and many organizations who directed their people to work from home immediately, actually, you know, HR people had a lot of work during this COVID time, because they had to manage, they had to see that the employee works from home, and he or she is properly facilitated with things that will help him or her to work from home. Right. So therefore, had to redesign the work. Redesign means, you know, somebody's workload increased, somebody's reduced. Many people went through a lot of training and development, short, quick training and development exercises to, you know, update themselves to with ease of use of technology, right? So this is one thing. And another thing that changes in socio-technical system is relationships, right? You see how our relationships have changed, isn't it? Don't you see? Now, every time we used to meet, we used to smile, we used to see each other. Now, what is happening? I'm hardly able to see your faces. And you know that in the beginning it was difficult, but now, hence, you know, my cognitively I have accepted that thing, so it's more easier to me. So, what I want to say that relationships change when your group. Starts working differently. The people who are working in your group, the machines with which you work, everything changes. So you need a training and development there as well. And the third thing, see, let me write down. First, this is, second, this is, and the third one is the individuals in the group, right? The individuals in the group need to go through a change in form of KSA. Individuals, how will you bring about change in individual? Through knowledge, skill and attitude change and development, which has to be facilitated by the resources in the organization. Right? The resources should actually complement this change in people. So I hope by now you are very clear about what we discussed today is how strategy, that is your competitive strategy. Now, if you recall, competitive strategy is mainly of 3 types, which was suggested by Michael Porter, which later on has been, you know, differentiated into various forms. So the main 3 strategies was, one is cost, that is reduction in cost, low cost. The second is creating differentiation. The third one is market segment, that was basically, you know, more of niche market or focus group, by changing the focus of your segment with which you are approaching. These are the main 3 competitive strategies, and whenever there is a shift in that strategy, all your internal alignments have to change. Right? And when these internal alignments have changed, HR strategy has to change. And when we talk about HR strategy, training and development is very, very important nowadays to manage the changing workforce. And the you know, never training and development was so important as it is now during the COVID period, because when everybody is working from home, people were not prepared technologically in terms of support systems to accept this. But now everybody is trying to gear up and change, and training and development has played a very crucial role.